The steroid era saved baseball. It saved baseball when the strike came around in 94, 95. And then when baseball came back with Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa, you didn't see Bud Selig complain about the steroid era, did you? You didn't. Because Bud Selig knew that baseball was falling apart and they needed something to drive it forward. And Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire were the type of guys to do it. Now, I understand Rafael Palmeiro lied to Congress, and we've heard stories behind stories about who was taking steroids and who wasn't taking steroids. Alex Rodriguez threatening people's lives because he was taking steroids and he wanted to keep it a secret. To me, and you can say whatever you want, steroids is nowhere close to what the Houston Astros did in the last 3 seasons. And the fact that you talk about the way Congress got involved with the steroid issue. Why isn't Congress getting involved with the Astros cheating?
Maybe because it's not a league-wide thing. Maybe it's just because it's a one-team thing.
A one-team thing. It affected revenue for organizations like the Yankees, like the Dodgers. That could. I understand. Everybody says like they need the money. But
yeah, I was just going to say that.
Nevertheless, that took away millions and millions of dollars through revenue from the Yankees, and maybe champions from the Dodgers, the Yankees. Maybe the Phillies, whoever was in the playoffs in the last couple of years that had a chance. And obviously not the Phillies because they're from the National League. But the American League teams that played the Astros over the years. The Red Sox being one of them a couple of years ago, getting swept out of the playoffs. And they were the number 1 seed in the American League. And Altuve hitting 3 home runs against Chris Sale in the first game of the playoffs. Mm-hmm. I wonder how he did that. But to me, baseball, since this story came out, has been an absolute mockery. And Rob Manfred is the trophy man. He's the counter man in the face of this catastrophe. And it is a catastrophe. And you could say whatever you want. And owners could say, well, it's not going to affect the season. It already has.
Oh, and it will all season.
It already has. You have players, big-time superstars like Bellinger, who won the MVP last year, and Aaron Judge, who should have won the MVP 3 years ago. It was him and Altuve, and Altuve won. I mean, you've had players, Giancarlo Stanton coming out and saying that if he knew what pitch was coming at him, he'd hit 80 home runs in a season.
If he stays healthy.
When you have players coming out over and over and over again, even players that have retired have come out and taken shots at the Houston Astros and that organization. And the fact that the owner has not been disciplined, to me, is an absolute mockery. And the fact that Doug Glanville, who I've never even heard of, that's why I asked you who he is and who he played for and what position he played, because I never even heard of the guy. He comes out and says the steroid era is worse than this era. That is a ridiculous statement. And to me, he should take it back.
Well, again, the difference with the steroids and the sign stealing is the sign stealing is a team-based thing. It clearly benefited one team. The steroid era benefited those certain players, but it wasn't like a whole team had 7 guys, a whole lineup using steroids, and that's why they won. Barry Bonds still only went to 1 World Series, whether you use steroids or not. Roger Clemens, I think he won, 2 World Series, but again, he wasn't in the playoffs all the time with the certain teams he was on.
It'd be different if Barry Bonds came out and said something about this particular situation, because Barry Bonds is one of the greatest baseball players to ever live, or a Willie Mays, or somebody like that, or even a Derek Jeter come out and say that this is complete mockery. But for somebody like Doug Glanville, who nobody's even heard of, nobody even knows who he is, and if you weren't a Philadelphia Phillies fan or Chicago Cubs fan, you wouldn't even know that he's played in the major leagues. And he's coming out and saying, this is a guy that has not hit more than 100 home runs in his career in baseball, and he was in the major leagues for 9 years. And I'm not saying he was a bad baseball player, because if you make the major leagues, you're one of the best baseball players in the world. But the fact is that he's coming out and saying that. Who the hell is Doug Glanville? I mean, that's the way I look at it. I could care less what Doug Glanville says. If Pete Rose came out and said something, that's Pete Rose.
But again, it also speaks to the credibility, though, too, because you're seeing steroid-era players be more credible on their era, whereas you're seeing with the Astros, they're not being credible with themselves at all. Doug Glanville probably played at some point with Sammy Sosa, who was one of the big steroid guys, and he's taking shots at him, and okay, rightfully so. Now you're seeing only guys that have left the Astros, guys like Ken Giles, who got traded to the Blue Jays, Colin McHugh, who was on that 2017 team, and then hasn't made the rotation since. Only those guys are speaking, and obviously Mike Fiers is the guy who started it. It's not guys that are currently on the roster, so at least he has the guts to take that shot at his own era, because again, steroids is wrong. I know you don't think it matters, but it is wrong in a sense. But you're right, where this kind of thing, if you know what pitch is coming, it's clearly much more an advantage, because baseball's not just about hitting home runs, too. If you know what kind of pitch is coming, you could line it for a single. You could rip it in a center field for a double and drive in the winning run in key situations. That's why it matters for the postseason.
You don't even have to know where the ball is going, because you can practically guess.
Right.
Because you know, if let's say Garrett Cole is pitching a curveball, you know where his curveballs usually fall. Mm-hmm. So you can guess where the pitch, where the ball is going to land, where it gives you a better chance of getting connected with the
and
ball.
with the cameras, you can look at the windups, you can look at the spin rate, you can look at different things, the way it moves, where you wouldn't be able to do that naturally in a game, just either standing in the batter's box or standing in the dugout angle. It's not easy to see it all the way. Now, again, I have no problem with natural sign stealing, but again, that's not going to happen on every angle. If you steal signs naturally, that's fine. That's a challenge. That's part of the game. Doing it electronically, where you could focus the camera like that, is a whole different thing of
cheating.
Wrong. Right.
It's cheating. So I disagree with Doug Glanville, and I think he's absolutely wrong. And I think this guy needs to. I don't care how long he played in the major leagues, and I don't care. Maybe he knows somebody on the Astros, or he knows AJ Hinge, or he knows the GM of the Astros organization. Maybe he's best friends with the owner of the Astros. I don't give a crap. The fact is they were cheating, and if you're cheating, you should be suspended, or something should be mandatorily taken away from that organization, and it hasn't been done enough by Rob Manfred. And Manfred should be fired. The ownership should fire him. Now, I don't know. I think his contract's up. I think they signed 5 or 6 year deals, and I think he signed it 2 or 3 years ago. So Rob Manfred maybe has 2 or 3 years left on his contract as the baseball commissioner. With this particular situation, and he's not Bud Selig, I don't know how many years we're going to have left that Rob Manfred is going to be the commissioner of this organization.
So it ends in 2024 because it was given to him.
4 years.
Yeah, so the year that just completed was the first year of the 5-year deal. So up until 2024 is when.
So that's
signed.
not a good sign. If that was your first year from contract and this happens, your first year, that's not a good sign for Rob Manfred. And now you're hearing stories that he wants. What does he want? Robotic umpires in the back of home plate. I mean, that could ruin baseball automatically. I mean, so and it wasn't.
People could probably find a way to steal signs with the robots, for all we know.
I don't know, but I think that this is going to be a rocky 4 years for Rob Manfred, especially his first year coming off a year where there was cheating with the Houston Astros, and they've been doing it for years under Bud Selig's
and maybe with the Red Sox too.
Reign. So, even the Bo Sox. If the Bo Sox get caught cheating as well, that's just another asterisk on his name for the next couple of years. And I'm telling you right now, the ownership, players are not happy that he did nothing to the Houston Astros. He did absolutely nothing. That their own fans are trying to get money back because of what the Astros have done. They're suing. There's a fan suing the Astros for $1 million. So he's not going to be the only one. He's not going to be the last one. And I think the Major League Baseball has to look at just what the fans are saying in Houston. Not only the players, but the fans of the Houston Astros are saying about the team and the organization and how it was run. So it's not a good sign for the Houston Astros. And Doug Glanville, he doesn't really put himself on the top of the list of people you want to interview. We should reach out to Doug Glanville and get him on the show. We really should.
You would challenge him.
Yeah, I would challenge him.
That'd be quite an interesting interview.
Because I think he's an idiot, if you ask me. And last story before we go to break in debate hour, there's a story coming out that the Hawks CEO, Steve Cunningham, starts the season. He's really starting the season on trying to figure out when the new CBA laws come out in the next year, where the NBA should go with their seasons. Now, he has come out and said in this article that he believes the NBA should start in December and end the playoff final should be in the middle of August. And if that's the case, and as everybody knows, the NBA draft is in July.
June.
Well, it's the end of June, July.
July, I think, is when free agency starts.
When you think about it that way, when do they expect to have the offseason? What is it, 2 months? That's all you're saying that August should be the end of the season. September, October, November. So
I don't think the length would be any
3 months.
different because you're shifting the start of the season 2 months and you're ending the start of the season 2 months later from what it already is.
But it's weird. It's weird because the NBA really builds and promotes their product in the month of November going into Christmas. Now all of a sudden they're going to be promoting it through Christmas, through the New Year. I just, to me, it doesn't make any sense. And the way they're supposed to build a product. And here's the thing: the NBA is now, they're elevating their TV deals, and now the players are going to make more money, and the CBA is going to make more money, and the players union is going to make more money. Why would the players agree to this? When the players realize that their off season in the summertime is better, going to distinct areas like Hawaii or training in New York or training in LA, than going and starting the season or ending the season in August, where you're going to start training and getting ready for the next season in September, October, which to me is not good for the players, especially the cold and really the massive training that they do in the off season. So I don't think this benefits the players. It might benefit the owners and might benefit maybe the playoffs.
Well, if there's more TV deals that come with this, because that was, I think, the main incentive for why Koonin decided to do this.
I don't know if that's going to...
The players could end up getting more,
I don't think it's going to drive more TV deals because they have the biggest TV deal out of all the sports right now. They have the biggest TV deal
right, but
out
also,
of all the sports.
I think what it said in the article that I was reading, the timing of it is also going to help, considering August. It's really,
never going to happen.
It's only preseason football, which nobody cares about really. It's baseball that's still in the regular season, which is, again, later in the season, so it means more, but is still not is going to be watched as much. So I think that, in essence, could help boost the ratings.
It's not going to boost anything because it's never going to happen. There's no way the players' union, especially the NBA's players' union, are going to accept this. Because it doesn't make sense.
You don't think they would do that to boost potential raises of the max contracts, which are currently $40 million?
They're making tons and tons of money. They
right,
don't
but
need
they
to make
could
any
make more,
money.
is what I'm saying. You don't think they would want to do that?
No, because I think the players are going to realize that right now, the way the season is built, is better right now that they have their summers and their vacations with their families. Remember, their kids have school. They go back to school. The players only get to see their kids maybe 2 months in a year, to see their kids at a significant amount of times, because they're traveling and they're traveling 40 games, 42 games in a season, 41 games in a season. They don't really get the chance to see their kids and their family. And the fact that you're going to take that away from the players because they want to start the season later, I don't think it makes sense. It really doesn't.
But again, not every player is going to be playing in the NBA Finals.
Doesn't matter.
Later in the playoffs.
It's not fair to the
either.
players that are. You understand? It has nothing to do with it. It's not fair. So you're telling me LeBron James, he plays in the playoffs every single year,
right,
and he expects the time with his children, his sons that are going through high school, and he wants to go and watch him play basketball. He's not going to get a chance to do that because, oh my God, he's playing in the finals every single year. That's not fair to LeBron James. It's not fair to the players that are in the playoffs. So to me, it doesn't matter. And the players are not going to handle that right, and they're not going to accept that because they want a chance to see their kids grow, a.k.a. Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant, for how many years? 20 years of playing basketball, barely saw his family. And now, after he retired 2 years ago, he's gone. He's dead. He really never got a chance to see his kids, his daughters grow. Because he dedicated his life to 20 years of professional basketball. So to me, there's no way the players' union are going to accept this, especially when they have the time and the opportunity to spend with their children and their families. So wrong, Speedy. It's not going to happen. The players' union is not going to accept this. I don't care what the NBA owners are going to do because it's all about the players' union, and they're the ones that play the game.
It definitely benefits the owners more. I'm not denying that. I'm saying
doesn't benefit the players.
I think the shift is not really as drastic when it comes to if the players will benefit financially if the TV deals continue to go up millions of dollars where the max contracts.
How much money do you think they're going to benefit? $2 million a year? $3 million a year?
Right, which in essence gets the max contracts to 42, then to 45, then whatever. The players, especially obviously the superstars who are going to get those max contracts could benefit off of that if it means just shifting the season. I think it could help, again, some instances. You're right. There's definitely going to be some that aren't going to like it because they're not going to be able to vacation.
It's never going to be approved.
But again, I think they already have that issue anyway, just with the way the season is structured. They play every other day. They travel a lot. That's not really going to be solved anyway.